Hey y'all, welcome back to the New Disciples. My name is Philip. This is Jeremy. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to finish up our three-part series on Joseph, the trials of Joseph and everything that he went through. So just a little quick recap. The first two episodes, the first one we talked about when he was a kid, having dreams, and his brothers threw him into a cistern, eventually sold him into slavery.
Told Dad he was dead.
Yeah, told Dad he was dead. Dad was very upset about that, as you can imagine. Part two, we discussed of when he got bought and he served one of Pharaoh's chief officers, and then elevated him to the head of the household to kind of run the house right under him. Then his wife took a liking to him, tried to have some fun with him, and he had wanted to do with it.
Yep.
So she freaked out, accused him of trying to do those things, and then now he was in prison. So his master had him thrown in prison, Potiphar. So where we're going to pick up here, he is in prison at this time. And if we go through, and I think we're Genesis 41. No, where are we at? 40, somewhere around Genesis 40.
Okay.
Where he gets thrown in, and I don't have that in my notes, but he gets thrown in prison, and he eventually, God's with him, right? We've talked about that in the first two.
Yeah, we're told multiple times, and the Lord was with him. That he was in some pretty dire circumstances, and yet the author is telling us God was still with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So because of that, he saw that the prison warden saw that God was with him, so he had elevated him to the high rank, and so he was over all of the inmates in the prison. Pretty much ran the prison. And so that's where he was at then. And then the Pharaoh, for some reason, gets mad at his chief baker and cupbearer and has both of them thrown in prison. And then they both have dreams, and they're freaking out because they had these dreams and where they were interpreted by Joseph. He told them both, hey, told the cupbearer, you're going to get out and you're going to serve along next to Pharaoh within a few days.
Yeah.
And then told the baker, like, well, you're going to get out too, but he's going to impale you.
It's not going to go as well, unfortunately. Yeah.
So that came true, and the cupbearer said, hey, look, hey, I'm going to remember what you did, Joseph asked him, like, hey, tell Pharaoh.
Remind Pharaoh I'm here.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
I've been in prison, falsely accused.
Yeah.
Go tell him. And so when the cupbearer got out, how quickly he forgot.
He did not bring Joseph up.
No, he totally forgot Joseph. So Joseph was in prison for a while until Pharaoh had some dreams himself, and then his people could not interpret it. And then the cupbearer is like, oh, man. Darn,
I totally forgot.
Yeah, this poor guy, like, duh.
I was supposed to bring this up years ago.
Yeah. But there's a guy in prison that can interpret dreams. So, Pharaoh summoned him, brought him in there, they cleaned him up, and Pharaoh told him the dream, and Joseph interpreted, basically, to kind of paraphrase, that it was, it was going to be 7 years of abundance in the land, and then followed by 7 years of extreme famine. So he said, you really should put somebody smart in charge for the next 7 years, stockpile grain and food and everything, so the famine years you'll be able to divvy that out so nobody starves.
Yeah.
And which was a pretty good idea, because Pharaoh's like, sounds like you're a pretty smart guy.
Right.
I'm going to put you in charge of all this. So that's where he found it. And Pharaoh saw that God was with him through the dream interpretation. Well, then Joseph did tell him, like, look, only God can interpret your dreams, but this is what it's saying.
Right.
What your dreams are saying. So we find ourselves where I'm kind of like paraphrasing through this whole story, not to make it very long. So he's second in charge of Pharaoh, and there's some stuff that you really ought to go read. Again, it's one of my favorite stories.
It's great to account. Yeah.
Where Pharaoh puts him in the Pharaoh's clothes and has him paraded around, so that everybody knows that he is second to Pharaoh. Gave him a ring and everything to show it. So over the next few years, 7 years, Joseph oversaw that, and Pharaoh just kept seeing that, hey, God was with him, stockpiled it up. And then when the famine hit, the famine hit his land, where his dad lived, his parents lived, and his brother
Joseph's
lived.
family, right?
Canaan, right?
Yeah.
So the dad's like, hey, you need to go to Egypt and get us some food, because we're out. So the brothers set off and found themselves in front of Joseph.
Not knowing.
Not knowing that was Joseph.
Yeah.
So they're going to ask for food. Well, and that's in Genesis 42:6 is when the brothers arrived on the scene, and Joseph recognized them. And some key points in here is that so imagine your brother throws you in a cistern, sells you into slavery, tells your dad that you're dead. Like, I'd have been pissed at this point. To say the least, I would have been upset.
Yeah, well, of course. Who wouldn't be?
Yeah.
You know, and Joseph could have been upset, you know, and rightfully so. You know, I don't think any of us would begrudge him of that emotion.
Yeah.
We're not told, so I guess that we could speculate, maybe give a little bit of a let's Joseph's a human being, and so he had to have been a little upset, frustrated, but I think where you're going, he didn't act on it. He did not do anything. He did not retaliate. There was no vengeance. In fact, it was quite, as we're getting into, it was quite the opposite of all that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He very easily could have just said, "Hey, arrest him, throw him in prison."
Yeah, that's true
too.
And right, and probably. I mean, they didn't commit the crime necessarily there, so you wonder where the jurisdiction. But to your point, yes, he could have tried it. But let's not forget, we've been told multiple times that the Lord is with him. Mm-hmm. So we shouldn't be surprised that he's acting as if the Lord is with him here.
100%.
There is some graciousness, there is some patience, there's some mercy. There could have been some anger, and that's a normal human, emotion that God's created within us, and we're allowed to get angry. We're told not to sin in our anger.
Yep.
And so. I guess we shouldn't be surprised that a man that we're told multiple times, I don't know what just happened there, I feel like I had a stroke, but multiple times there, that the Lord's with him, he's acting as if the Lord's with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he did mess with them a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, he had put some, filled up their bags, told his people, hey, put their money back on top of the bags, and then sent somebody, like, when they got home, they were freaking out.
Yeah.
And then they came back and was like, hey, and we found this money, and he kind of messed with them a little bit, and then had him bring his
brother.
Yeah, once
Benjamin.
they found out he had a younger brother, he had him bring him back, and ended up inviting him to dinner, and it was a big dinner, and he fed the youngest brother more than anybody else, let him sit at his table, and then put the cup in his brother's bag so he could get his younger brother detained to kind of freak him out. So he did mess with him a little bit. In that moment, which, I don't know, again, I probably would have been the guy like, hey, we're going to arrest him and put him in jail for a little bit and let him go through the same things I did.
Yeah.
So the point of that, in Genesis 45, 5-8, Joseph tells him, so in Genesis 45, he reveals himself to his brothers. Hey, I'm your brother. But he tells them, don't be upset and don't be angry with yourselves for selling me to this place. It was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives. This famine that has ravaged the land for 2 years will last 5 more years. There will be neither plowing nor harvesting. And he sent me ahead of you to keep you and your families alive to preserve many survivors. So it's God who sent me here, not you. He's the one that made me an advisor to Pharaoh, to the manager of his entire palace, and the governor of all Egypt. So when we first talked about the dream of them bowing down,
right, it's happening.
So here we go. We have prophecy fulfilled,
kind of
right?
Full circle here,
yeah. And I get a little tingly just thinking about that, man. Like it's pretty cool that.
So the very dream that kind of caused the brothers to respond the way they did and sell him and ship him off, and kind of wash their hands of him. Now they're very much living it out in real time here.
Yeah. They probably feel a little deflated.
Yeah, you wonder if they remember the dream. Like of course they remember it if you'd bring it up, but I wonder if here they're thinking like, well, I'll be darned. The dream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there was a point where was it Reuben or something was like, "Oh my gosh, we sold our brother, and now we're and that's when Joseph was kind of messing with them. Like now he's gonna, we're gonna have to pay for this.
Right.
We're gonna be punished for this because of selling our brother and everything." But yeah, I just think huge story of salvation and really God's design for things. Like this was kind of set in motion, really way before Joseph, but kind of plays out, and then how it leads on to the next, when he brings his whole family into Egypt, and that's where, we're in Egypt, and they get enslaved at that point, which leads to Moses and all that.
Yeah, so this is a great example of even when we consider our own lives, even though we may not have the same details, obviously, in Joseph and his brother's situation here. But even as we look back on our own lives, I think we talked about this a little bit in the previous two episodes, that, as we look back and you can kind of see at the time, things didn't look good. We're going through a frustration or some kind of event going on in our life. We don't recognize that God is necessarily at work. It might be years later when we look back and kind of see through the course of events and how they've kind of laid out and rippled on through and so on and so forth. That you go like, oh, wow, God really was doing a thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, we don't recognize it at the time necessarily because we might be panicking, we might be scared, we might be freaking out, we may just overlooking it, not thinking about it. And here's a really good example that as we can kind of read it from a 10,000 foot view and see the kind of how all the parts are playing out, and that when he's being sold, that's not a good thing. I mean, it's still not a good thing, but God was using this. This is God's using all of this to thread thread this, what would become Jewish history, Israelite history, that you just alluded to. That it's through this account that Jacob and the sons and his household end up in Egypt. They grow exponentially there over many years. This is the group that would be enslaved for 430 years in Egypt, that Moses one day would be led to come and get, and the rest is history, in the Old Testament. And it all kind of stems back to, well, how did these people even get into Egypt? Well, this brother was sold into slavery.
Yep. Yeah, it kicked it off. Yeah, I just think it's a great, just an amazing story of having it, and I think we talked about this in part, well, probably the first two parts of that. It just seems like from getting sold into slavery, and then thrown in prison. Like, how many people would just be like, you know what, like, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm checked out. But, Joseph stayed faithful. He knew God was with him, and he endured, and ultimately, by God's grace, overcame all the things that he had been through. Like, and I said it in the last episode, like, hey, I've been sold into slavery, but I'm still blessed, so I'm going to do everything I can for my master. And then with that, I get elevated to the position I'm in, and then I get thrown in prison. But I'm in prison. I'm still going to do my best of whatever I have to do in there, and get elevated in there too. And then, which led him to sitting really, second in command over all the land, and getting married and having kids and everything. But like,
you think about it, in every station since being sold, I mean, he became the second in command of everything that God led him to, right? Potiphar's household, Potiphar was still the one in command of his household, but Joseph had the authority to make whatever decision necessary for the betterment of Potiphar's household. Now he's in prison, which seems like a dire situation, and just by virtue of being in prison is a dire situation, but yet he's elevated to second in command. He's not the warden, but he's an inmate. But the warden basically, no, he's not called the warden, but says, "Hey, you're in charge. Whatever you say goes." And he gets out, and now all of a sudden he's the number 2 for the entire country. I mean, I don't even think we read the verse yet or referred to the verse yet, right? Where Joseph does tell his brothers, "Hey, it's me." They're kind of just reunited. And he said, "Did you read? Like, don't worry about it. What you meant for evil, God used for good."
Yeah, it wasn't in that translation what God used
but,
for evil. Yeah.
But I mean, he gets that. I mean, that's what somebody who the Lord is with, and they know the Lord is with them, says. Not only do they do what you said, that they work. Like, hey, I'm going to do my best here. I've been given this authority. This is my job. This is my responsibility. I'm going to do the best of my ability because I'm not just serving them. I'm serving my Lord. And so anything that they think of me is going to credit to God. And so this is now what somebody who understands all that says. What you meant for evil, God used for good. Why? Because the Lord was with him. And what a great lesson for us.
Oh yeah.
Because I've preached or referred to these verses in sermons. If I'm thrown in prison, I'm probably not thinking like he is.
No.
And that's a woe is me for that.
Right.
But we're immediately thinking about what this is bad. This is how am I going to get out of here? Am I going to survive this? God, where are you? Have you abandoned me? And we don't see that in Joseph, and that's a great testament to a man of great faith and knowing that God is all powerful. God is with him, even in the junk and the most dire parts of life. And it's just such a great reminder for us that we may look around and things may not be going our way. We may be just being beat down by somebody or something, but God is still with us.
Yeah, and that just got me thinking 15 different ways of, thinking about, having conversations with men or even in my life where, things seem desolate and bad. And it's like, looking back at Joseph, and I think that's probably why it's one of my favorite stories, is because like he had to go through these trials, like things that, it's hard to comprehend how much he had to do and go through to get where he was at, and ultimately, to get the position where he was at. And and I'm sure he probably did call out to God in those instances, like, God, help me, and I'm going to stay faithful to you. And even though God was like, he was going through that, doesn't mean that the blessings weren't coming. Right. They were still there. They just weren't right then. So they weren't. It wasn't a no. It was just not right now.
Or maybe they didn't look like what you would expect them to look like or want them to look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And well, think about it. There's a lot of times where it's like, I want this thing, and God may bless us in that moment and say, okay, well, I'm going to give you this, and it doesn't line up 100%, but it's still a blessing.
Right.
And we got to recognize that, I think, as men, for sure. So just like again, I strongly encourage you to go read that story, and just really dig into, there's a lot to it, but dig into just what he had to endure, and just kind of meditate on that, just pray on that, kind of what that means, and to like translates to your life. Like, there's probably not one person watching this thing or is going to watch it that hasn't had to go through some things. And I know you said it a bunch of times. If you haven't, get ready,
right?
Because it's coming. But also like forgiveness. That's a big key in here, because I've been wronged by people, and it's taken me a lot to forgive them, and we've talked about in past episodes, but ultimately that forgiveness was there. No retaliation, just forgiveness. Not that, I don't protect myself from future things, but it's like, you are forgiven. And I think, in those situations, we're probably blessed with that too, right? Because of that. Hey, we do forgive. We're going to be forgiven someday. It's a lot to unpack in there.
There's a lot to unpack in there. About the forgiveness, I think you bring up a good point. We can and should and are called to forgive people. That doesn't mean we just make ourselves as vulnerable as we once were, that we can protect ourselves from future attack or hurt. We're relinquishing the pain of that, and moving forward. But we don't have to always put ourselves in another situation to be offended again or whatever. I think, one of the takeaways for me in this whole thing is that, I agree with everything you just said about forgiveness and so forth, is that Joseph had no control. He wasn't in control of what his brothers did. He was overwhelmed and thrown in a cistern, and, had no control over what was going to happen to him. Is then sold, has no control. He's now property. Is being assigned to a home, and now being told what to do in this home, has no control. The only thing that he can control, the way I see it in this account, is he can say yes whenever God says you need to do this, and it's usually interpret a dream, right? Or do the right thing. When Potiphar's wife's throwing herself at him, and he says no. But really, the only thing that he can control is what he does in those few situations where he's given the opportunity to do the right thing, or he can make a wrong decision. And he makes the right decision because the Lord's with him. And I just think that's so impressive, and something that I think we all should aspire to.
Yeah.
To want to do the right thing. One, because it's the right thing to do in the moment, but also because it's going to reflect great on our God, who we serve and who we claim to represent.
Yeah.
And just a great example of faithfulness and perseverance in some pretty crummy situations, and how God in the midst of it says, okay, I'm going to bless you in it.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff. I don't have anything to add to that, man.
I don't either.
That's good.
That was a pretty good ending, I guess.
Put a cherry on top of
that. Sure.
All right, guys. Well, if you do, I encourage you to read the story. If you need any, have a question for Jeremy or I about, hey, where does it start, or any questions, or maybe you interpret it a little bit different, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at theneatdisciples@gmail.com. Find us on all the most of the social platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and just drop us a line. Just tell us your thoughts on it. Yeah. We'd love to hear from you. So, right now we're going to move to a time where we're going to talk about bourbon. So if you have a issue with alcohol, it's time we turn it off. We thank you for joining us. But if you do want to hear about the bourbon, then stick around. All right, y'all. So today we're going to try this Knob Creek 12-year. I saw it on the shelf. It was months ago. Picked it up. It was around, I don't know, $60-some, between $60 and $70. So I figured it'd be worth it. I know I haven't seen it on the shelf a whole lot, so I don't know how readily available it is. Have you seen it?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It still may not be readily available, but I think I've seen it.
But I think I've seen it since. I mean, it's harder to get, but I think I've seen it kind of here and there. So it's not impossible.
Yeah, not a unicorn.
No, it's not a unicorn whatsoever. But it is a 12-year. This one's 100 proof. 100 proof, 12-year. So we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna run it on the neat scale and see what it tastes like.
Let's do it.
There we go. I'm spilling. There we go.
Well, it looks like bourbon.
It looks like bourbon.
It does indeed.
It's got a light color. I mean, that's 100 proof, so.
It's kind of smooth on the nose. I don't get a real strong ethanol. You?
No, it's kind of sweet. Corn and caramel and
brown sugary. Here it comes. There it is. It's very sweet.
It is very sweet. I was just about to say it's almost like a candy, a sugary candy.
This is one of the sweeter. It's good. I like it. I like sweet. So.
Yeah, it is. It is very sweet.
Yeah, it is. I'm still trying to, discover and pull apart the flavor. It's just sweet. Not overwhelmingly sweet, but no, I don't get a burn. I don't get that peppery finish like many bourbons give you.
No, it's very, it comes on real sweet, and the aftertaste is still there. You kind of get that sweetness. Wow.
And it lingers.
It does.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I almost want to say it's got like a hint of like a cotton candy or something, just like a sugary, just a sugary candy.
Yeah. That's a pretty good observation. I'd agree.
I mean, it's got good legs. It's nice. I mean, it's the viscosity of it's. I mean, it's a good. It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm glad we opened that, man. We were on the fence about what we were gonna do, but
Yeah, that kind of a vanilla caramel there at the end. Yeah. And it just, that sweetness just stays. That's good.
mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah. That's all right. That's good.
Well, let's run it on the neat scale. So on the nose, so the smell, first impressions. I mean, it wasn't harsh smelling.
No.
Like I'm at a 4 on that one.
I was gonna say 4.5.
A 4.5.
Yeah.
I was about, yeah, I could go 4.5.
Yeah, that's good.
On that one. So 4.5. The taste, the flavor profile. Well, y'all heard my reaction. It's just a sweet, like that cotton candy flavor, or this just that I can't place it.
Yeah, it's not overly complex, but yes, very sweet. Just real pleasing. It's just good.
Yeah.
I think cotton candy is a pretty good illustration.
Yeah, just sugar, not. Yeah, I'm at least a 4 on that. I mean, it's not the best I've ever had, but man, it is good. So I'm gonna put that as a 4.
Okay.
Accessibility. I mean, it's a $60 to $70 bottle of bourbon. I think it's absolutely worth that. As far as being able to find it, it might be a little harder to find.
I think it's currently available at one of our big box.
Is it really?
Local one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That doesn't mean it always is, but
yeah. So from a price standpoint and availability, I'm at a 4 on that too. 4 on a 1 to 5. I mean, if it's at the local big box and not hard to get for $60 to $70. And then the texture, the palate, the T. I'm not going to say it. It's very pleasant, very pleasing.
it lingers.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah. I mean, I'm almost at a 4.5.
Okay.
4.5. I'd be okay with a 4. But that was it's.
Well, even at a 4,
tasty.
that puts us at a 16.5. That's going to put us at the anointed. Well, no, 4.5 will put us at an anointed. I'm gonna go with the 4.5 on it then. My math right? 17.
What did we say? All 4s and a 4.5, so that's 16.5, right?
Well, no. 4.5 on the nose and a 4.5 on the texture.
Oh,
So that would put us at a 17.
that's 9 and 8, 17. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be an anointed.
Anointed.
Easy.
I think on our neat scale that it deserves that.
Yeah, Knob Creek 12. I've ran into people, they weren't Knob Creek fans. I don't know. I mean, I like their regular stuff. Their 7-year stuff is really good.
Knob Creek was one of the first ones I remember buying way back when I thought I was cool.
Yeah.
And,
Still are cool.
No,
man.
I was never cool, but I thought I was. Yeah. It was one of my gateways in. Buffalo Trace was kind of my gateway into the bourbon, but then once I kind of branched out a little bit, I was in California at the time, so grocery store, I can go to the grocery store. So whenever I go to the grocery store, I'd just see what was there, and I do remember just pulling Knob Creek off. I'd heard of it. Like, all right, we'll try it. And it made a pretty good old-fashioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably won't put that in old fashioned.
I don't think you need to. That's the thing.
No, it's so good.
But you could add it as the simple syrup.
Yeah.
It's not that sweet.
Sweeten it up a
but
little
it is sweet. That's just unique.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that bottle.
There's a lot of really, to me, the Old Forester 1924 is really, really good. The Blanton's Gold was really good when we tried it. I'm not going to say this is like that same level, but it kind of get the same kind of
complexity.
Yeah.
Flavor. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's got a lot going on.
it does.
Highly recommend. I may have to pick up another bottle if I see it, just to have a backup for sure. So, all right, Knob Creek,
Knob Creek.
12. Wow, I'm tongue tied here. Definitely recommend it. It's a Disciple. Yeah. So, well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe on the platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, all at The Neat Disciples. And you can email us at theneatdisciples@gmail.com. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next episode.
It was easy for you to say.
I know.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.